It's a family affair tonight. Please welcome Chris Eubank, Chris Jr. and the newly crowned Mrs Eubank, Claire.
There we go then, so.
Nice to see you all.
So Chris Jr., do we call you Junior or Chris when Dad's around? What's the...
Well, when we're both in the room, I guess Junior is the best option. That way you don't get us confused.
Does that mean we call you Senior then, Chris?
Well, the affectionate name given to me now is English.
English?
Yeah,
Where's that come from?
Well, my father, his nickname was English, and he was given this name because he spoke a few words of perfect English, like good morning, how do you do? Delighted, delighted. And that kind of got him the name because he would otherwise speak in a very deep Jamaican patois, like, come here, sir, God there, sir. Me not deal with that. Me not run with that. So these perfect few words of how do you do, good morning.
And you're keeping this alive?
I'm going to keep it alive for him. I love everything English.
So we've got Junior, Senior / English, Claire in the middle, yeah? Just Claire. Junior, how strict was Senior English Chris as a dad then?
You know, it's how he is as a trainer, as an advisor in my boxing career. I think he found that kind of hard to stop as a father figure.
Right.
You know? But at the same time, that's what I needed. I was a boisterous kid, so I needed that.
Runs in the family,
I
doesn't it,
needed
Chris?
that strict rules, you know, around me. But you know, it worked out.
Yeah.
So this is just normal for you, Claire, is it?
UK weather.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not UK, but as it's been the last couple of days.
It's cool.
Cool for you?
Yeah, it's not hot. When you live in 40 plus and high 40s, it's not pleasant.
And
this is a
Junior,
breeze.
we just in that chat, we were just talking about the fact that you trained Las Vegas in the desert 3.5 years. I mean, how intense does that get? You're running in that kind of...
Extremely intense. You know, even in some of the gyms, they turn off the air conditioning so that the heat gets even more intense, which makes the training even harder. But it's funny that you guys are talking about heat. I live in Brighton, and some of my training I run along the beaches. And when I first started doing it, I started doing it in the winter time, so I'd run along the beach, there was never anybody there. And then you know, the weather started picking up. So I'm running down the beach, I must have been about 16, 17, and sometimes there's people on the beach, but you know, I've got my music in my ears and I'm just going, I'm not concentrating on anything, so I'm running along the beach, and you know, I'm right towards the end of the beach, and I look up, and everyone's naked around me. And I've actually run into the nudist part of Brighton Beach.
Junior.
So I'm looking at everyone like, why is everyone naked? And they're all looking at me like, why isn't this guy naked? So I had to sprint up off the beach. It was crazy, but you know.
But we have to say a big congratulations to you two, because you got married at the end of last September, didn't you? It was a spur-of-the-moment wedding. Now, where were you in the world, Chris, and how did this happen? Tell us the story.
Well, Christopher was training in Vegas at the Mayweather gym. And so, obviously, he needs his trainer and his mentor and advisor and his philosopher anyway. What happened was Claire decided to come over, and we spent a few days, well, 9 days, because she's always traveling over to London, or I travel over to Dubai, and so she came to Vegas. And the day she was leaving, in the morning she was leaving, I thought, you know, she keeps on leaving, and I want to keep this woman because everything.
Isn't that wonderful?
But everything about her, it just matches me. She kind of, sorry for the cliche, but she does complete me. She has whatever. She's like my other half of the scissor.
Right.
She just.
That's an interesting
That's
analogy.
a nice way to put it.
Yeah. You know, I cut very well with her.
Oh, very good.
Without her. And so I said, can you stay a few more hours? And she said, well, I can't, you know, I've got to go back. And I said, if you stay, I'll marry you. And she said, I'll stay. So,
well, what about that? That's a lovely moment. And that's saying something, because I thought you would have put a bit more thought into the outfit, to be honest. But, well, you know, that is saying something,
I mean,
Claire.
I didn't have it in my mind to do.
No.
I mean, that morning, I thought, I want to keep hold of her. But do you have that picture? Or
with a picture of you with your arms out?
Yeah, here we are.
There you go.
Right, okay.
Yeah, you look good, don't you?
Well, that's really kind. I'd like for you to hear Claire's version of it, because I don't tell it as well as her.
Well, we'd love to, but we haven't got any time at the minute. But
Right, okay.
but we will. We'd love to hear it later on.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And
We're going to move. We'll do a quick film. You'll be interested in this one. Now, this advert for weight loss products received hundreds of complaints, but yesterday, an advertising watchdog ruled it not offensive.
You certainly don't think it's offensive, do you?
Well, I think to some people, then obviously
No.
it is, but for others, it might be quite entertaining. But
Well,
go on.
for some, the desire to get a so-called perfect body shape is leading them down a very dangerous path, as journalist Penny Haslam has found out.
Thanks for that, Al.
Every day, we're bombarded with thousands of images
Flick your hair out.
telling us we need to be healthy, successful, beautiful, and slim.
But some people want it all, and they want it now. A shortcut to a beautiful body. Diet pills.
What are the risks and the costs? Natalie Jade Penn took them to get slim.
They ruined my health and almost cost me my life.
Bodybuilder Paul Sutton takes them to look buff.
Thankfully, I've never suffered any side effects.
But for Fiona Parry's family, it ended in tragedy.
My daughter Ella died as a result of taking slimming pills that she bought on the internet. And I want people to know just how dangerous they can be.
More than 60 people worldwide have died after taking slimming tablets. 6 in the UK, and one of those here in Darwen, Lancashire. Heather Thompson's partner died suddenly.
There was nothing wrong with him. I told him I loved him the way he was.
Window cleaner Chris Wilcock started taking diet pills after an accident at work meant he couldn't go to the gym.
He's like, I just don't feel right. And I could hear his heartbeat going. He says, I want to be done. He went nothing, but then he could barely speak.
Chris died of a heart attack before reaching hospital. So just how easy is it to buy weight loss medication? Time to go shopping.
And it's not that difficult. They're online, they're in shops, tanning salons, gyms, all without prescription or regulation.
We bought pills with the generic name T5. They're widely available with ingredients that vary from herbs to more risky substances. Time to bring in pharmacist Catherine Brown.
What's in it and what's it meant to do?
High doses of caffeine, which most people would think, well, it's in coffee, how bad can it be? But high doses can cause serious problems. It can also have things in that it shouldn't have anymore, like ephedrine, which is really bad for you, can cause heart attacks.
And available online, the substance that caused Ella Parry's death. DNP, or 2,4-dinitrophenol.
DNP is a chemical. I wouldn't even go as far as saying it's a drug. It's never been used for anything medicinal in the UK. It's used as an explosive, it's used as a herbicide. It's not fit for human consumption. People should not take it.
Ella Parry took an overdose of DNP, but then drove to hospital after deciding to get help. Initially, she seemed fine.
I gather it was when they got the tox report back that all changed. That was when they realised what this stuff was going to do to her. They will have watched her vital organs pack up one by one as they were forced to burn off energy by this drug. When her heart couldn't take any more, when it just couldn't beat any further, it stopped. And they couldn't start it again. She was gone.
Paul has taken legal T5 diet pills without getting ill, but has never tried DNP.
When I prepare for competition, I'll use it for probably the last 6 weeks into a competition. And I've probably done that, possibly up to 10 times.
No side effects, no problems?
No side effects, no. So they do, I feel they do a job that I want to do. They give me the energy lift. That's what they do for me.
You've got to be really careful about controlling it.
Absolutely,
So
yes.
there's a certain level. So how do you work out the right level?
Well, I start with 1. And if one gives me the lift, I will stay with 1. If I feel I need 2, then I will go with 2.
And would you like to see your industry not use these products?
If I said yes to that, it's not going to change it, is it? Sadly.
We've got to live in the real world, haven't we?
It is, yeah.
It's about telling people the dangers. You're taking this stuff to make you look wonderful on the outside, but there's the real risk that it's doing nasty things inside.
Natalie Jade was less lucky with T5.
I suffered with a heart condition called atrial tachycardia. I was blanking out, heart was racing, my resting heart rate was 220, sweating, and I just felt really unwell.
And how long had you been taking them for?
6 weeks.
Just 6 weeks?
Yeah. So the pressure obviously on my body was continuing and continued today to a certain extent, so that I still suffer with the condition now.
I know that shedding a few pounds can make you feel healthier, happier, and maybe weight loss pills are the shortcut to a new you, but they can be a gamble.
Well, thank you to everybody there for sharing their stories. Now, Junior, obviously as a boxer, weight is incredibly important to you, so how do you make sure that you're absolutely at the right weight, but still you've got all the strength and everything that you need?
It's all about discipline. Obviously, everybody's different. You know, some guys, they cut weight easier than others, but you know, at the end of the day, any type of shortcuts, any type of pills, stuff like that, it's not worth the risk. It's much better to eat right and take weight off gradually than you know, put your body through drastic changes which can affect your health. It's not worth it.
Yeah. So as we said earlier, Chris Senior is now coaching Chris Junior. Claire, you're sort of the lady in the middle of the two boys. So when does the line between father and coach then blur? You know, or when they're at home, is it sort of father and son very relaxed, or is there still an element of coach and boxer?
I don't have the joy of living with either of them. Obviously, I'm in Dubai. Chris is between London and Brighton. Christopher lives alone, so I tend not to see too much of that, which is probably not a bad thing.
But when you're out and about on outings like this, what's the dynamic like between them then?
Chris is just being a dad. When he's not in the boxing ring, he's just being a dad.
Right.
Yeah. And Chris, how much did you want Chris Junior to be a boxer when he was a young lad?
Well, I think what's given him the drive that he has, and what's enabled him to actually be interim world middleweight champion now, is the fact that I told him no, and I was a very strict father.
Oh, really?
I mean, I had the constitution of a warrior, so I didn't play, and I wasn't really the type of father who was like the normal father. I was a sportsman.
Yeah.
I mean, he was born in '89. I was 23 years old. And I've been very strict with him. And when I told him no, that, you know, boys and, well, usually children go the other way.
Yeah.
If I would have said to him, box, he would have been like, not interested. I said, no, you can't box. And so that would have stayed with him and actually, you know,
spurred him on a bit, I suppose.
to box.
And is that the drive then, Chris? Is that what you feel inside? Because
that was definitely something that made me want to start, was the fact that, you know, my dad's telling me I can't do this. What is this thing, this sport that is so forbidden? And obviously, growing up, I was into I played rugby, football, cricket, athletics. I was always very competitive. So when I was hearing about this boxing, I was like, this sounds like the most, you know, high octane sport possible. So that was the drive for me to do it.
And as well as being a sportsman, Chris, you always brought a lot of showmanship into the ring. So how much of that showmanship do you project into your performances then, Junior?
You know, I have a lot of people who say that sometimes in the ring I show off a little bit too much, but it's not. There's a difference between showmanship and showing off. You know, at the end of the day, it is a fight, but it's also an entertainment business. So you know, you got to fight, and if you can look good while you're doing it, then look good while you're doing it.
I was reading an interesting thing. I think that you said that, you know, nobody notices you if you're in the middle. You've got to go from one extreme to the other for people to actually.
I mean, it's not a sport for being. You know, you must have attitude. People must actually adore you or love you, or dislike you immensely. Then it works, and that worked for me. Now, the position that I'm in, I didn't have anyone to actually leverage my personality all those years ago. Now, with my wife, I ask her now for the advice because she knows how to leverage all of this attitude for sponsors. And what do you say to that?
I try to advise you when you're in a listening mood.
just about sums it up.
You see what you mean? With just fitting in the gaps there, you can see it absolutely works.
I would say this. She was saying to me about how boxing isn't sponsored. Well, in actual fact, you tell her.
And we were chatting on the way down here, and there's a reluctance generally to sponsor boxing because it's perceived to be extreme, high risk, dangerous, and companies don't want to get involved with that. And obviously, aside from Chris, who's it's his history, it's his boxing days are gone. Maybe, hopefully.
Maybe.
But for Chris Jr., who's a fine, upstanding young gentleman, anyone should want to have their name on this man. And I find it strange that it's perceived to be more dangerous than a rugby or a...
Right.
Well, this is a good look, isn't it? Lovely. We're in our shower cups.
Hang on, I can't quite get your hair in, but do carry it. Anyway.
Well,
Bart is just finishing off this wonderful piece of work over here. Creates art by just punching punch bags. So we're all getting ourselves saddled up. No, we can do it. We can. Yeah, of course we can shake hands, my friend. Yeah, great. Now, believe it or not, Chris is. Bart here used to train with Joe Frazier, so he knows how to.
For a couple of months, but still, yeah.
I didn't realise he was an artist. No, anyway.
Well, actually, he was a boxer. Yeah.
Well, we're all going to have a go, Bart.
Perfect.
So, any last-minute advice, tips?
Yeah.
Of course, I haven't got anything new to tell about boxing.
Okay.
I think it's more about the process, about having fun, letting go of the inner beast, having fun. That's most important.
A bit of growling?
Yeah, first you growl, then you howl. What?
I'll do
then you punch!
Okay, let's go. Let's have a go.
Let's get into it. So,
Okay.
Chris, I think you're the one over there, my friend. And just and then this is what you're aiming for. To be honest, this is as if we need to tell you what you're aiming for, Junior. But anyway, this is the piece of work that Bart has created for us throughout the programme. And we haven't got that long, as we never do on the One Show. But let's just get punching and see what we can come up with. All right.
Yeah.
I think we've got a minute. Are you using a glove there?
Well, I am, but...
There we are. Off we go. We've got 45 seconds.
Come on, then.
Off you go.
Ready?
Yeah.
45 seconds of growling, howling, punch, boom!
Yeah! Boom! Go on,
Just we'll do it all together. We'll do it all together.
Come on, Matt.
Have fun,
So
That's it, boom!
when did you start?
Bart, when did you start doing this, Bart?
I'll teach you guys.
Yeah,
Go on then.
yeah.
Go.
I need some
That's
more
good.
Yeah, that's it, good, yeah.
Okay.
Good, perfect, good. Hard, you knocked me out.
Oh, look, that's beautiful. Oh my word.
We haven't got a hope
Good,
yet.
that's it. Come on. That's it, perfect. Boom, hard.
I'll just go there, just go to the face. Little bit
Boom,
there.
boom, boom.
Little bit there.
Come on, Jack, that's it.
Go on, Chris. You get in
Are
there.
you done? He's done.
You're doing great.
Getting the solar plexus.
Yeah.
That'll do. Let's rip
All
it
right,
off and
let's
have a look.
at what we've made.
Yeah.
It
Let's
looks
come
all
and
right,
reveal
doesn't
it.
it?
It's yeah.
Can we get this off?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's reveal, peel and reveal, and there you have a boxing
minimalistic
masterpiece.
boxing painting, all about the process. Yeah.
There we are. Well, that is it for tonight, Junior. Good luck with all of your future matches.
Perfect.
Chris, Claire, thank you very much indeed for joining us
Thank
as
you very
well.
much. The show will be coming live from Belfast tomorrow. Chris and I will be at the 59th annual Tall Ships Race, and we'll be joined by another boxer, Barry McGuigan. We'll see you then. Have a great evening.
Good night.
It's all right.
The gossip about Carol and Buster is spreading with